Eddie, I covered the Irish Cup match against Armagh for BBC and waited for the draw that day with you in the Oval. And you had a wee glint in your eye, and you said to yourself, you said to me very quietly, Logie, we could make the cup final. And here you are.
Absolutely. Credit to the boys last week. An unbelievable performance. They took the standards to a different level. Unfortunately, we didn't hit that level on Saturday there against Dungannon, but we got the points that was required. But full credit to them. We're in a cup final. It keeps our season alive for the next 5 league games, and another door open for Europe.
You talk about keeping the season alive. Eddie Patterson's done a fantastic job because the Glens have only lost 2 games since Boxing Day as we speak, as we do this interview.
Absolutely. A big positive from that is the fact that the job that the coaching staff are doing. I have to say, it's not just down to Eddie Patterson. The coaching staff, we have regular meetings. We talk about what we want to do on a Tuesday and Thursday night, what we're going to work on, and credit to the 2 boys, Seamus and Tiernan, what they did in the preparation for the Crusaders game, the semi-final. And as I said, I've stated in the press, it was monotonous. It was repetitive, thing after thing after thing, the same thing. And the boys responded to it brilliantly. But I've no doubts that going into Saturday's game, their head must have been frazzled with all the information that they were given and what they had to work on. And and that's carried on. That type of thing we've been doing from the likes of December. And as you say, only I think the Blues and the Crews have beaten us.
Crusaders, it looks as if they're probably going to win the league as well, and as you head towards the cup final, and a lot of people would have put the smart money on Crusaders to win that semi-final and get a possible historic double. But how confident were you whenever you went to that game with the squad that you thought there was a chance we could get a result here?
What we went through on the Monday, Tuesday and Thursday prior to the game, and I knew I haven't seen the players as focused as I had seen in the past, and I knew, and looking at them, you have that wee sort of inner feeling that you could do the job, but you also have that flip side of that, and we have so many inexperienced players there. What are they going to be like on the day? And I have to say, we walked out of the changing room that day just for the warm-up, and to see that sea of red, green and black, well, it was unbelievable. The reception that the lads got just to come out for the warm-up alone, showed you how much the supporters were into it, how many of them got there before the actual kick-off time. An early start for them, but to come back in again and then to go out, and that noise was amplified 5 or 6 times again, and I think it just gave them all a lift, and they knew that that was our 12th man.
Now the cup final, very special day, showpiece, glamour day. You've been there before, you know what it's like. Obviously you managed Glentoran to a cup victory. Would you be worried that maybe they got the focus for Crusaders and think, well, we're in the final, this is bonus territory, or will you have them really zoned in? How difficult will it be for you to zone them in to play Portadown in a cup final?
Any player going out for a game like that, it goes one or two ways. Look, you either respond or you freeze. And having looked at them against Crusaders and how they responded was absolutely superb. What we've got to do now, we've 5 league games to work with between now and then. We've got to play Portadown in between. So that's one where cards could be kept close to the chest. Don't play your cup final.
You'll probably
team.
play the ladies team that day,
Yeah, the changes could be made, but at the end of the day, that's also determined by are we still in with a chance of Europe on a league front, and Portadown could be thinking exactly the same way. So it'll be interesting to see how that game comes about. But once that game's over, we've another 2 league games to contest. And once we get those out of the way, then we start that week prior to the cup final. It'll be much more the same of what we did with the Crusaders game, the preparation for it. And credit to the senior players in the squad, the Elliot Morrises, the Curtis Allens, Stephen McAlorums, who individually were going around all the young lads, making sure they were ready and prepared for the game, and making sure they were fine, giving them all sorts of advice, and that was fantastic, and that's the kind of camaraderie within the squad at the moment, and even the guys who were left out of the 16 doing exactly the same. It's a club thing. When it comes to cup finals, it's a club thing. It's not just about the 11. As much as a player would love to be part of the starting 11 or next stage part of that 16, it's a day out for everyone concerned with the club, and a massive day for the supporters. And I have to say, within the East Belfast family, it's given a big, massive lift to the community right round the Oval.
It's a massive prize for you too, you know what I mean? You know, victory there, you know, guarantees European football, which is a lifeblood for a team and a club. We all know their well documented difficulties, so that would be a massive lift, both on a footballing front and a financial front as well, Eddie.
So, 100% right, Logie, and the big thing about it is that it would be, for, in my eyes, a just reward for the work that everyone has done at the club, and not just us from the playing side. You know, we have a new board in, they're working strenuously to get the club on a sound financial footing. They're doing on their side. The football side of it is being done by the players and the coaching staff, and if we can marry those two together and keep the same good work going, then Glentoran within the next couple of seasons, with that reinvestment from European money, if it comes about, we can add to the squad maybe a couple of more experienced players, a couple of experienced faces that will come in and take us to that next wee level, which would take Glentoran where they should be every season, and that's competing for and challenging for league titles, not just cup competitions.
Eddie, dare I say that, you know, Portadown Glentoran is a fantastic cup final pairing, isn't it? Two teams, and I know it's a well-worn cliche, but two teams who do like to play football.
100% again, Logie, but you look at it from our perspective. We've been coaching the young lads and what way we want them to play, and we've always stated before, it's an old cliche, the Glentoran way. Always wanting to get the ball down, play from the back, play through midfield. You look what Ronnie McFall has done, and particularly in the close season, what he's added that. Winners in Garrett, Galt, McAllister, Oman from down south, who's a league winner as well. They've been there, they've done it, they know what it's about. We've a very green young side coming through, inexperienced, and just that challenge of coming up against those guys. And the games, we haven't beaten Portadown this year, but the games up to now have been very, very close, and even the games of last season. But what I have found since I've come to Glentoran, the competitive between the both sides, and whether it's Ronnie's past connection with Glentoran or whatever, but he always has them up for a game against Glentoran, and they've always been frenetic, they've always been hotly challenged games, and at times it has taken strong referees to manage those type of games, but we're looking forward to it. Any time we've had it against Portadown, it's been very, very tough, but one thing that has to be said, it's been really, really fair, and challenges will be flying in, but as I say, it's always been a competitive and fair nature, and myself and Ronnie wouldn't have it any other way.
You talk about Ronnie there too. A word about Ronnie, the longest serving manager. He's been there. He's been at Shamrock Park with the Brickies, like really, I suppose, to an extent, and all over, in Irish League football. He's been a real icon in Irish League football, hasn't he?
What more can be said? Who would have thought anyone could have overtaken Sir Alex Ferguson in the length of time that he's been associated with one club, and we have it here in our own backyard. Ronnie McFall has done everything in the game, both as a player and as a manager, and he's to have Portadown, the league titles that they've won, the cups that they've won, a provincial side that it's always been sort of focused on the Belfast teams and what they're going to do, and the big man broke that mould back when he took over Portadown, and he's continued to do that, and they're the big challenger this year. Some real shrewd signings during the summer, and the man, I think what he knows about football, what I know about football, is there's no comparison, and that's it. He's just an icon in Irish League football.
Just listening to you there, it's fairly obvious that you rate Portadown quite highly.
You got to, Logie. They're sitting up until Saturday's game. They're third in the league. They're now fourth, and just that goal difference that separates them. The big thing about them, from back to front, they have real experience right throughout the side. They maybe haven't got the biggest squad that the likes of Cliftonville, Cliftonville, Linfield, and Crusaders have, but they've been hit with a few injuries of late, with the likes of Twig, McAllister, Darren Murray being suspended, and that's taken away maybe a wee bit with some of the results that they've got in the league of late, or they could be further up the table. But that's been Ronnie's forte over the last number of years. His squads haven't been that big, but what he has in that sort of 14, 15 really high quality players, and that's the way Portadown has been for a number of years now. And I think really what has hurt them over a few years has been the size of their squad, the injury suspensions that they picked up, and they've hadn't had that quality to come in and replace them. But we're into the business end of the season now. People will be doing their utmost to stay injury free and suspension free. 5 league games left, as I say, and I think from, you look at the distance between themselves in fourth place and Linfield, there's not much of a difference. 3 points separates from third place down to sixth. An awful lot of football to be played, and Portadown could, if applied properly, could raise another place or two places.